In just 1 week, the U.S. conducted full-scale military evacuation drills in the embassy district in Caracas, carried out comprehensive military evacuation exercises. U.S. military aircraft landed twice inside the embassy compound. Marine Corps' Osprey tiltrotor aircraft flew over the city, landing in the parking lot, and then took off again. During this period, naval ships were stationed just off the Venezuelan coast, only a few kilometers offshore. The highest-ranking U.S. military commander in Latin America personally disembarked from one of the planes. So, what exactly is the U.S. preparing for? Why conduct back-to-back drills in just 3 days? Two Marine Corps MB-2TBs flew at low altitude over Venezuela's capital, landing in the U.S. embassy compound, not at an airport, nor at a military base, but at the southeastern edge of Caracas, in the embassy parking lot surrounded by mountains. Getting off one of the planes was the commander of U.S. Southern Command, General Francis Donovan. He's responsible for the entire Latin American and Caribbean region, the top commander for all U.S. military operations. Arriving on a Marine Corps evacuation aircraft, personally coming to the embassy. This is definitely not a detail that can be overlooked. These are real images from the evacuation drills. Look at the landing spot for the aircraft. Check out that compound. Think about when the last time something like this happened in Caracas. Just 3 days later, the same thing happened again. At the same embassy, a second military response exercise was held. With the same operational pattern. The U.S. Embassy even made it public on their official website. To drills held in less than a week. What exactly is behind all this? To understand it clearly, you need to look at what was happening at the time. At those naval vessels anchored off the Venezuelan coast. Those Ospreys didn't fly in from Florida. They took off from the USS Iwo Jima amphibious assault ship, which was stationed just off the coast of La Guaira, about 11 kilometers away, right next to Caracas main shipyard. The USS Iwo Jima is not an ordinary ship. It's about 256 meters long, can carry hundreds of Marines, multiple aircraft, landing craft, and armored vehicles. It's also equipped with a fully functional medical center. It's basically a floating military base, and can remain on standby in a region for weeks without needing resupply. But what really makes this warship stand out is this detail. The USS Iwo Jima is the same ship used on January 3rd to evacuate the former president, the exact same ship, which is now back again, anchored off the coast, sending aircraft toward the capital. Escorted by the USS Lake Erie missile cruiser, equipped with long-range radar and air defense missiles, with real combat capabilities. This isn't a logistics ship, but a frontline warship, stationed about 11 kilometers offshore, watching helicopters fly over Caracas. Ospreys take off from the USS Iwo Jima, cross the coastline, fly over the city, and land in the embassy parking lot. From takeoff to touchdown in less than 6 minutes. The third aircraft, a Navy MH-60 Nighthawk helicopter, was also involved, as part of the coordinated drill. 3 military aircraft from the Western City Corridor to warships, 1 embassy district, all within less than a week, to drills were conducted. So what exactly is this kind of military evacuation drill? What does it take to carry out such a mission? The official name is Non-Combatant Evacuation Operation, NEO. The military uses this term as a general descriptor for those military actions taken in a crisis to safely evacuate non-combatants. The evacuees aren't combat troops, but embassy staff, government employees, and U.S. citizens who happen to be caught in the situation. These drills follow very strict procedures. An alarm sounds inside the embassy. Personnel move into the building to designated assembly points. Emergency vehicles roll in. Ambulances, fire trucks, and medical teams take up positions in Caracas. The Venezuelan Red Cross officially assisted both drills. Then military aircraft arrive, land, and load the personnel, and then take off. The entire process from alarm to wheels up is required to be completed within 30 minutes. Everyone has a fixed role. Every aircraft has assigned landing slots. Because in real action, there's no time for improvisation. The Osprey was built exactly for missions like this. It can take off and land vertically like a helicopter, needs no runway, so it can park directly in the embassy lot. Once airborne, the rotors tilt forward, and it can cruise at about 480 kilometers per hour. It can carry 20 for fully armed troops, or 30 to people in pure transport mode. From the USS Iwo Jima off the coast near La Guaira, to the embassy district in Caracas, the straight-line distance is about 40 km. At cruising speed, it takes less than 6 minutes one way. Just 6 minutes. The Nighthawk helicopter covers different sections of the ship, but it is extremely reliable, and especially suited for working in tight urban environments. During an actual evacuation, it would likely handle the primary personnel evacuation, while the Nighthawk manages medical transfers or secondary extraction sites. A standard non-combatant evacuation operation can involve anywhere from 50 to over 1,000 people, depending on threat levels and the size of the embassy. The Marine units assigned to this evacuation mission, some units, must maintain a 365-day fight-ready status, able to deploy within 6 hours at any time. Specifically to respond to these emergencies, rules of engagement for these scenarios are strict. They're only allowed to return fire if directly threatened. Their main mission isn't to fight. Their job is to get people out, quickly, as quietly as possible, and to avoid any shooting if possible. What's called a show of force, like warships offshore and planes over the city, is meant to use overwhelming power to discourage anyone from interfering. In most real evacuations throughout history, the U.S. military has completed the mission without firing a shot. Since U.S.-Venezuelan military cooperation broke down in 2005, these U.S. military ships and planes are operating openly in Venezuela's territorial sea and airspace for the first time, with permission from the Venezuelan government, as if 20 years of hostile relations don't exist anymore, replaced by back-to-back comprehensive drills. A 4-star general lands at the embassy, plus a 3-stage plan that gets mentioned repeatedly, but has never been fully explained. There's one detail that connects it all together. USS Iwo Jima, the same ship that took people away in January, is the one dropping Ospreys over Caracas in May. It's back, with military aircraft, with the general, and Venezuela's new government watched it all, but kept silent. A Caracas resident put it plainly, "This makes us feel uneasy. Foreign military aircraft flying right over our city. This is a first for us, especially at a time of national turmoil, and the planes belong to the U.S. It puts us in a state of uncertainty. That uncertainty is exactly what they want." Whether it's for contingency planning, political pressure, or early preparation for something bigger, the U.S. military is making sure everyone in Venezuela, and everyone watching Venezuela, can clearly see U.S. capabilities and response speed. Whatever this so-called 3-stage plan actually is, it's obviously not over yet.